Ever since I was younger, I was into video games.
Somebody like the Fuse so I can bring bad news to all these crews who can't NBA jam with the shoe.
Hey everybody, welcome back to a quick beer review. Staying on the Sierra Nevada train, we just drank Atomic Torpedo. And this is a beer that comes courtesy of my man John from Four Brewers. I finally got to see him for the first time in like 3 years. We hung out. Last weekend, I was up in Riverside and my wife had a work conference, so I took advantage of getting away and going up there and hanging out with her. But while she was in her conference on Friday, it was Friday, right? Yeah. John is sort of local to there, and he came and hung out, and we drank beers for like 4 hours and talked about life, and it was amazing. The Four Brewers have a great podcast. If you're into podcasts, they do a beer podcast. I've been lucky enough to do that with them a couple times. Just awesome dudes. So I will leave a link if you're not familiar with the Four Brewers. Check them out. But when he was leaving, he was like, "Hey, I forgot I brought this beer for you." So I had no idea Sierra Nevada did this. This is called Resist. And this is a beer that was brewed to help with humanitarian efforts in Ukraine. Per the label Resist, it says an anti-imperial IPA. That's funny. 7% alcohol by volume. Says it's a bold West Coast style IPA to support the Drinkers for Ukraine fundraising efforts for humanitarian relief. Please raise this vibrant can designed with Ukraine's national colors and flower to show your solidarity and know you're helping those who need it the most. Sierra Nevada, Chico, California, and somewhere in North Carolina. Talked about that last review. Yeah, I had no idea that they did this, so I don't know anything about this beer. It does not tell us the hops. It does say that it's 45 IBU, so for a West Coast IPA, this might be that new school kind of West Coast IPA. It's more fruity and juicy than super bitter and over the top. So, canned on June 23rd. He gave this to me last week, and I just haven't got to it. Today is July 17th. Couple weeks, fresh to death. We just had Atomic Torpedo, and I'm guessing this is going to be night and day different from that beer. And it is. This is pouring. It looks like a lager, which is awesome. This is the color that I love for new school West Coast IPAs. Big fan. I feel like I'm the West Coast IPA guy of YouTube. Everyone's still drinking hazy beers, and I'm the clear beer channel. But yeah, Atomic Torpedo was like that amber color, like that super old school dark malty, like red color. This, I'm sure it always looks darker on camera, but this is lagerish. It almost has that green hue that the beers these days have because they're so heavily hopped. Plenty of carbonation, tons and tons of bubbles. I don't know, half a finger of bright white head. It is dissipating rather quickly. These new school West Coast IPAs seem to do that. The head doesn't stick around a lot on them, but yeah, it looks awesome. It looks crisp. It looks like it's going to be thirst quenching. It is warm out here. It's Sunday. We've had some beers this weekend. We're chasing that hair of the dog. Let's shove our fat nose into this one. See what it's got. Ooh, this smells, I mean, it smells really good. What is that? This is like, what's the best way to describe that? This smells like lemony to me, and it smells floral. There's a bit of like pine, and it's got like, it's pithy, like pithy citrus. But this one too, it's got, I mean, it's saying West Coast, but I can't figure out. It's light like the new school West Coast IPAs, but it has like a nice sweetness to it. But yeah, like zesty lemon pith, maybe some grapefruit pith. It's definitely floral, which kind of makes sense. Like there's flowers all over this can. But yeah, but with a nice, just like toasted bready malt. There's something else in there that I can't figure out. Maybe we'll taste it. So, John, appreciate you, bro. Cheers. I mean, that's a crusher of a beer. It's funny. Most breweries don't put the IBUs on the label anymore. That used to be like a big thing, I think, back in the like old school West Coast IPA day when guys were doing fucking like 90 and 95 and 100 IBU beers. But this only being 45 IBUs, it definitely is not crazy bitter. It's definitely floral. This almost reminds me, I mean, I don't know. It does. There's no information on the can. It almost reminds me of like a Nelson or maybe like a Nectaron hopped beer. It has like that sweaty kind of gym sock thing. that I get from Nelson hops. It probably isn't Nelson. And it's really, really dry. So it's kind of just making my brain go towards that. But yeah, like zesty lemon peel, definitely floral, maybe like some pininess. A lot of Sierra Nevada beers, they're piney. Like Celebration was piney. Atomic Torpedo was piney. I remember regular Sierra Nevada Pale Ale just having pine, like pine needles. This reminds me of it. Like, I know that it's a Sierra Nevada beer, but it tastes like a Sierra Nevada beer, if that makes sense. It's light. And like I said, it's not over the top hoppy. There's a little pop of bitterness on the back of my tongue. But that kind of just sweetness from the malt is nice. It balances it great. I'm telling you, the last 4 or 5 beers that we've drank, they're more just balanced beers. And I've come to appreciate that a lot more. I still love over the top hoppy beers, but if you give me something like this isn't going to kill your palate. It's not palate fatiguing, super easy drinking. I mean, 7% is kind of my wheelhouse. I like that kind of 5.5 to 6.5% these days. But 7%, like, not bad at all. This doesn't feel heavy. It's just a well-made, solid beer. Again, this isn't something that's going to be like, holy shit, this is mind-blowing. This is the best beer ever. But this is just a solid beer that you would sit every day. You could crack one of these like with dinner when you get home from work. I'm like, this beer is delicious. It's just, that's what it is. I want to look it up and see if there's Nelson or Nectaron or some sort of one of those hops. Because, yeah, it's got that sweaty kind of like vinous thing. Maybe that's what I was smelling before that I couldn't figure out, but now that I've tasted it, it almost has like that tomato vine, like green thing, like vegetal. What is tomato vine? I don't want to say vegetal because people think of like collard greens or like dark leafy greens. It's not like that, but if you've smelled like vine ripened tomatoes, next time you get tomatoes, smell the vine. I get that with some hoppy beers, but yeah, this is good. Solid stuff. Definitely floral for sure. It's funny because the color doesn't show it, but this kind of has a little bit of the old school West Coast vibe to it with that floral, piney. It's Sierra Nevada, so it's good. I'm rambling. We're done. Awesome beer. Glad I got to try it. And John, I appreciate you sharing this one. So check out 4 Brewers. Did you guys have this beer? I had no idea they did this, so it'd be interesting to see who drank this beer and how you got it. I don't know if it was an online thing. I don't know. I haven't seen this in distribution, so I don't think stores got this. I don't know how they did it. Maybe it was like who knows? Was it on their Instagram, Twitter? What happened? How'd they release this? So that's it. I'm out of here. See you guys soon. Cheers.
Thank you for coming behind the bar, in the arcade, all that shit.
Ever since I was younger, I was into video games.
Somebody like the Fuse so I can bring bad news to all these crews who